Hi, I'm going to be demonstrating how I picked up stitches at the shoulders for my Kingfisher Tee design. When you go to pick up stitches into a cast-on edge, there are several different places you can actually pick up those stitches into, and if you're working a stockinette design, the result is basically the same no matter where you pick them up. But for a design like this, where you have big open lace columns, you do want to make sure that the fabric on the other side of the pickup aligns properly here. So I'm going to show you on this little example swatch of where I just worked a couple short rows. I'm going to show you exactly how I picked up stitches to get those columns to align. So when you work a long tail cast on, you have several parts being created. You have this strand of the long tail cast on, and you could pick up into these little bits here, or you could pick up into this bit here. And that's one strand of the long tail cast on because the cast on is done with two strands. And then in the long tail cast on, you're simultaneously making this first row of stitches right here with the other strand. And that's what we're going to be picking up into. And then that means that for every column of stitches on this side of the fabric, we're going to be picking up one stitch for the other side of the fabric. And then that means that the two pieces of fabric are going to be an exact mirror image here. So where you have the columns that these decreases are worked every other row, you're going to have part 1 up here of the cast on, part 2 of the cast on. These two stitches that are coming together are the first setup row, and then this stitch is the first of those decreases that is worked, and you can see it pulls those two stitches together. So where we're going to be picking up is into this row of stitches created by the cast on that's above the setup rows. Okay, now I will demonstrate how I actually do this. Because there is the back stitches, you are going to be instructed by the pattern exactly where to start, but I'm going to start here just to show you. So you're going to start in the middle of one of these stockinette columns and then go along the row, picking up one stitch for every stitch on the other side. Oh. Okay, and then here we're going to be picking up into here. And then we're going to be picking up into here. All right, and then it looks like there's a gap because of those yarn overs below, but there'll be yarn overs on the other side as well, so you don't need to worry about that. And we're gonna go next into this stitch on the other side of the column. And then into this stitch. Okay, and then you just have regular stockinette to go into for a moment. All right, now I'm at the second column of eyelets, and we're going to be picking up into here, 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 and here. And I apologize with my fumbling with picking up stitches. For some reason, it is just much more challenging to pick them up when I'm trying to simultaneously film myself doing it. Okay, and as you go along, if you want to be sure you're picking up the right number of stitches, you can make sure along here you're picking up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there should be 4 just completely regular stockinette stitches. And as you, I'll go right to the end of the row. So there is this last stitch of the row is like wants to turn on itself, but you do want to go all the way to this last stitch of the row. Okay, and now as you have all your stitches worked, as you work the first couple rows of the shoulder, you want to make sure that the eyelets are aligned correctly, and if they're not, you probably missed a stitch like this stitch at the end, and you can just go back, take all these stitches off, pick it up again to make sure that it's lined up properly. And here is in the finished garment what that result is going to look like. So this is the back of the neck, the shoulder, and you can see that this is what that join looks like. The stitches are a mirror image over this line of where stitches were cast on and knit this way down, and then picked up and knit that way up, and those columns neatly flow into each other at the shoulder.